Hello friends, today I am going to explain movie name Outside before we start. Please like and subscribe to my channel. The movie start. We see first scene Philippines, where all the major cities have been overtaken by zombies. But Francis Abel and his family has somehow managed to escape Manila and head towards his home village. In his family has wife Larissa and their two sons, Josh and Lucas. They soon reach an old, seemingly empty and abandoned house. Francis then takes a piece of metal pipe and cautiously enters the house. As he walks inside, he hears faint noises from upstairs, so went to check it. He enters a room, find a dead man lying on a bed with gun near, clearly sign of suicide. Francis takes the gun and wristwatch. Then come outside of room, he sees a woman who has recently transformed into a zombie. The woman is his mother. The zombie eventually attacks, forcing him to shoot her. Then Francis buries his parents in the cornfield. The Abel family stay inside the house for the night. However, Francis cannot fall asleep and stays awake, keeping guard the entire time. In the morning, he checks the water supply and, after confirming it is clean, allows his sons to use it. But Iris, his wife, not happy that they are now stuck in this house. Later, Francis takes his eldest son, Josh, with him to check another nearby house. There, they find a radio, a flashlight, and some chicken in a cage. They also find the dead body, still hanging by the roof. Francis tells Josh to retrieve the keys that are dangling from the body's belt. But as the Josh try to take the keys out, the dead body falls on him. Josh is clearly hurt in the incident, however. Francis doesn't help him at all. This is because he wants his son to learn how to handle difficult situations. That afternoon, Iris takes Francis to the basement of the house so they can check for any supplies and tools, then revealed that Francis's abusive father used to regularly lock him in the basement as punishment. He is clearly not over that trauma, but proceeds to get into the room and discovers a generator that has run out of fuel. Later that night, during dinner, Iris suggests that they should head north, just a few miles from where they are, because she doesn't feel safe there. However, Francis tells they should stay, as it is safer here. The morning, the couple has a conversation near the cornfield. It is revealed that Josh is not Francis's son. This is why he doesn't treat him as well as Lucas. Iris then tells that they need to go north, where the government instructed them to go. Francis doesn't like that idea, but eventually agrees for the family's safety. Then they leave in their van with Francis driving while Iris plans their route ahead. Everything going well until Josh accidentally lets it slip that Iris had recently got a call from Francis's brother Diego. This news angers Francis so much that he loses focus on driving and nearly crashes on a bridge. Then they realizes that it's impossible for the van to drive forward because bridge is blocked with barricade, so Francis tells going back to the house is good for all of us. However, Iris gets out of the van and tries to cut through the barricade. She makes too much noise, and a soldier who had recently turned into a zombie appears from behind. Francis rushes to save her and shoots the zombie with his gun, but more zombies appear behind their van and their sons are trapped inside. Francis bravely shoots at the zombies and diverted them away from the van. Iris then rescues their sons, while Francis picks up a grenade from the dead soldier and tries to go away from zombies. He quickly makes some distance from the zombies. After making it safely behind a car, he throws the grenade, killing all the zombies. Francis then reunites with his family, and they walk back to the house. 2 weeks later, Francis goes back to the bridge to get the van back and see that it is in working condition. He is ready to drive it to the house when he suddenly stops. For some reason, he doesn't want his family to leave his house. Later, he comes with fuel and lies to his wife that the van is not in working condition. He then puts the fuel in the generator and surprises his family with lights, air conditioning, and some music. The next morning, Francis goes to their chicken cage to get some eggs for breakfast. But he sees there that a dog inside that killed their chicken and also bites him on the hand. Later, his wife treats his wounds but suggests finding a hospital, as they don't have any medication for rabies. Francis declines to leave this house. Meanwhile, Josh hears something on the radio about a nearby camp. The kid then relays this information to his parents that night, and argument breaks out. Iris suggests that they should leave to find the camp. However, Francis declined that and tells we are staying in the house, reminding her what they see outside. Next morning, Francis is repairing the chicken cage, then Josh comes to him and asks to turn on the generator. Francis declined that, which leads to an argument. Francis asks Josh if he can kill to save his family the same way he did at the bridge. When the Josh replies that he can, Francis takes him to a nearby field to teach him how to use a gun. Then Iris hears the gunshots and approaches the field and see Francis teaches Josh in the same manner his father teaches him. Then suddenly, several zombies arrive at the field due to the loud sound of gunshots. Then family then rushes back home with the zombies chasing to them. They block the doors and run upstairs, but zombies manages to push inside through the door and the windows. Just as everything looks to be over, a jeep arrives outside the house and saves them. Morning, Francis goes to a nearby river and discovers that the man who saved them is his brother, Diego. From their conversation, It is clear that Josh is actually Diego's son. Then two brothers discuss their pasts, during which Diego apologizes for everything and reveals that he came to help them. However, Francis declines all the help. He even pulls out his gun and points it at Diego. Diego is ready to leave. But before he drives away, he leaves Francis the map to the northern camp. After Diego leaves, Francis takes the map and tries to burn it, but changes his mind at the last second. Then he returns home and lies that Diego was already dead by the time he got there. Francis then begins repairing the house while Lucas is playing. He chases a fly that eventually leads him to the basement. He then sees a zombie hiding behind a window outside the house. Iris also arrives there and notices that the zombies are getting weaker as the days pass. She realizes that these creatures will soon die out due to a lack of food, but they don't know that Francis is listening from behind the basement's door. While roaming around the farm, Francis also finds a zombie in a similarly weakened state and kills it instantly. Then he tells a fake story to his family that there are several zombies still around the farm. He wants to prevent his family from going outside. That night, while they're having dinner, Josh tells that he saw a map. It has directions to a camp towards the north where they can all be safe. Hearing this, Francis tries to convince Iris that they should grow their family on the farm. He even tells that they should plan for another child. She refuses all this, tells that their life is no longer normal like it was before. Iris tells him that he needs to focus on how they will survive as their food reserves comes to end. She suggests that should go out and gather food from the surrounding area. This suggestion to Francis increases his anger, and he begins digging apart marital problems that he and Iris have been having. He tells to their sons that Iris was planning to leave them just before the zombie outbreak began. Iris admits this, tells that she is no longer happy with her life. She then asks him, "Give us map." But in response, Francis takes out the map and burns it. Then, next morning, Francis goes to the farm to search for food, but finds only sugarcane. He grabs some of it when suddenly he hears gunshots in the distance. There are people nearby and they are fighting the zombies. That night, he brings a large piece of wood from the basement, which he uses to block the door, and then locks it with a chain. They hear a knock on the door. They can hear someone tell them that he is a soldier asking for help. Francis declines to help, but Josh removes the wood. An injured soldier named Corcuera begs for medical assistance. Iris is a nurse, immediately rushes to help Corcuera and asks about his injuries. The soldier tells them that he is from a nearby camp. His convoy was on their way back when a group of zombies attacked them. His group died, him as the only survivor. He was nearly surrounded by the zombies, but a man helped and sent him towards the house. Eventually, Francis agrees to help Corcuera, but insists he must spend the night in the basement. When everyone is asleep, Josh tells Iris that he will leave to find Diego or the camp. He also tells her that he knows about her father, but says he considers Francis as his true father. The next morning, Francis finds Corcuera having breakfast with Lucas, but notices that his elder son is not with them. He asks Iris about it, but she does not respond. An enraged Francis then rushes to look for Josh, but finds his bedroom's door unlocked. Realizing that the kid is run away, he picks up his hammer, heads back to the kitchen, and kills Corcuera. The others watch in horror. Francis then approaches Iris and knocks her unconscious with a punch. When she wakes up, she quickly finds out that Francis has imprisoned her as well as Lucas in the basement. Meanwhile, he kills the dog that ate his chicken, cooks its meat, then heads to the basement, dressed in Corcuera's military uniform. When his family refuses to eat the meat, angry Francis smashes the plate on the floor. He then reveals that when he was young, his father would punish him if he didn't finish his food. Later, Iris and her younger son plan to escape from this house. In the next scene, Francis suddenly wakes up from his nap to Lucas's screams. He quickly rushes to the basement, but as soon as he enters, Iris smacks him with a piece of furniture. He falls on the floor, temporarily knocked out, while Iris grabs the keys from him. The mother and son then finally escape the basement. Afterwards, Francis wakes up and he realizes that he is in the basement alone and begins seeing flashbacks of his father throwing him in here as a punishment. Iris grabs some items, including a blade, and runs outside with Lucas. They are ready to leave the house when suddenly Diego attacks them, who turned into zombie. Duo to this, they run back inside the house, but Diego grabs Iris by the leg. When the kid tries to help, Diego attacks him. At this moment that Francis comes out of the basement to save his family. He manages to kill the zombie, but before it bites Lucas on the hand. Now they only have two options. Either cut the boy's arm or watch him transform into a zombie. Emotional Iris chooses the first option and starts preparing for the gut-wrenching process. Francis says they have to find another way. He tells her that they have to take the kid to the nearest medical center. For this, Francis rushes to the bridge where he had left their van a few days ago. Unfortunately, Josh is there with a gun that he picked from one of the soldier zombies' corpses. Francis also soon arrives there and immediately locates his van. However, since he is wearing a military uniform that is covered with blood, he appears like a zombie. Just as Francis approaches, Josh accidentally pulls the trigger out of fear and hits his father. When he finally realizes what he has done, he rushes to ask for forgiveness. Josh confesses that he has always seen Francis as his true father. The latter responds, saying he has always seen Josh as his own son. He tells Josh to take the van and rescue the others. Iris notices Josh arriving at house with the van. And this movie end here. And at last, as I am always say, thank you for watching.